Yeah, I remember walking in here and seeing this and kind of freaking out. Do you remember like when you first were here as a kid? By the time I got here, it was like literally getting to Mecca. I was like, I've got to get there. I thought everything had to do something. Like, what does that flower do? I thought everything was gonna come to life and like delight me. Like, what does that thing do? What does that building do? But Dad was like, it's a building. It doesn't do anything. It's like a rite of passage bringing your children here. And, you know, this whole being a kid with your kid thing, this place you would think lends itself to that. You know, on the other hand, you know, drawing the line between being a friend, being a kid with your kid, and being a parent, I mean, there's a lot of parenting that must happen here. There's also a lot of silly fun to be had here. I'm wondering how people handle that in this delightful setting. Oh, here's a goodie for you. Mm-hmm. Being a kid with your kid versus being a friend and not a parent.
My dad did this very well, so it was very well modeled for me. So my dad was a great friend, a great playmate, and a great authoritarian. Mm-hmm. And when he would say, all right, it's off to bed, and I'd go, why? He'd say, oh, well, I'll tell you why, because in this movie we call life, I play your father, and you play the son. And it's not fair, is it? I would hate to be the son. It's much better being the father.
So now here, at the happiest place on earth. Actually, no, wait. Here, stand like, that's the happiest place on earth. Do you feel like a kid when you're here with them, or do you actually feel even more parental than usual?
More parental than usual.
I think when they were younger, more like a dad.
These characters to her are real, and I'm participating as if they are.
Oh, I see.
I think more childlike.
Probably not all the way back to childhood, maybe part of the way in.
Little flashes of childhood.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I remember that. Oh, no, don't touch that.
I'm watching them right now because they're standing behind you. But anyways, you got to keep an eye on them. You got to keep them all together. You don't want to lose them. Well, you might. I don't know.
I'm going to do a run-by coughing. You ready? Uh-oh. I think I drove him crazy. I love playing with him. And you'll get into this silly mode where you'll be playing, you know, Little Red Riding Hood with puppets for half an hour. But then it's very hard to transition into, okay, time to brush our teeth now.
Can I play a little?
You know what? You can't.
1 minute.
You can't because
1 second.
if you do that, 1 second is very quick. Because I was just a friend, you know, in the play. Have you ever experienced any of that?
Well, yeah, but does it need to be so differentiated between the two, where you're a parent and a friend at the same time, and you don't necessarily always have to be the taskmaster and the authority? You can be just have fun and then, but also be that.
Well, tell him that. That's not rushing. That's nothing.
It's just a conversation, but it's still, you're putting yourself in a fairly authoritative role in that moment where you're saying that was so much fun, but now we need to stop. Babe, we need to stop. Let's stop. You know, and you're just like putting on the brakes slowly.
Right, now we need your shirt on.
My school,
This takes so much concentration. It really is. It's like 58 things a day like this, and you're like, all right, wait. But like you said, you don't want to think too much. One thing I was doing that worked actually also, when we got on those rolls, I'm like, all right, let's all go nuts for 2 minutes.
That's fun. That is really fun. We used to have giggle time in our house when it's like a certain time. Okay, everybody run as fast as you can down the hall and, you know, pile into one and giggle. Okay, now we got the giggles out. Because you knew that they needed that moment, and that's perfect.
Tell you what, let's be really silly for 2 minutes. Come on, let's talk normally to each other. Here we go, you ready? Go. Good. That was a really disgusting one because I saw the food in your mouth.
You want to have a good time with them, you want to be a confidant, but you don't want to not be the parent. Right. And I think that's one of the hardest things for parents in our age is we so want our kids to like us that it can be hard to remember that we are destined to make them unhappy as part of our job of keeping them healthy, keeping them safe, and helping them grow and get stronger, right?
Right.
I mean, at some point, they got to brush their teeth. They got to get in bed. They got to eat healthy food. You have to be willing to set limits, and that's, I think, one of the hardest things for us as parents.
I mean, there are times when I'm being a kid with him and he oversteps his bounds, and I go, nope, you can't do that.
Right.
Like immediately, you could just switch back into
Just
the
switch the
parenting
gears.
mode. No, I have no problem with that. But I love being a kid with them.
But you did say that.
I love it.
You did say though that they more tend to backsass you, and
Maybe, but I'm not going to stop being a kid with them.
Right.
That's part of the joy of this thing, is that you can be a kid again.
Pretty pie time. Pretty pie time.
Pretty pie time. Pretty pie time. I think this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Try not to spit on the thing.
Over.
Little girls do this too.
I see Tigger. Johnny. I see Tigger.
There was a famous child developmental specialist. His name was Felix Adler. And he said, we have to give children a lot of sunshine when they're young. They're going to need it later. And I love the idea of children storing up sunshine that they can draw on later. You do find adults who just didn't get enough sunshine as kids, and they're on thin rations for a lifetime. And you find children who got enough sunshine. That means enough love, enough guidance, enough challenge, enough good teaching. And they then have something to draw on. That's sunshine.
Right. Wow, this has been great.
At the end of every Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, there's time for the hot dog dance. And both
Do they do that then?
Both Xander and Cooper look for me to come running into the room, and I do it with them every single time.
You got to show us a little
There's
bit.
absolutely no chance I'm doing that.
Oh,
right
come
now.
on.
You come in and do this. Look, Goofy's got his way.
So what is your way?
Oh, I do it this way. It's very simple.
I think I'm gonna.
Use my core. What's more fun than this?
I'm kind of into a marching thing.